On the Fringe with Dan radio style, I hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. We've got quite a show packed today. Holy crap. Got a bunch of video, a lot of major news, lots going on right now. The left is having a real tough time right now. There is so many things that are coming to the surface. So much truth is coming out. All of this is happening, of course, leading into the election. But larger than that, I think this is demonstrating that a lot of this transition away from the deep state is kind of already in process. Again, this is going to take some years, for sure, to clean up, but we are well underway. Let's get right into it. Again, got a lot going on. I got a great music show tomorrow. I mentioned it yesterday, but we're going to be doing 80s, party hits. Like if you went to a party, they would be some of the songs that you would expect to hear. A bunch of stuff that I bet you haven't heard in a while. I got some really awesome music lined up. So if you want to join us live, it's going to be a lot of fun. You can always check it out after the effect. But live will be 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern on Friday. Every Friday, do live music at that exact same time. Usually about an hour or so. And then we lead into Synchronicity with my good friend, the Alpha Warrior. That's usually at 4:30/7:30, depending on where you're at, of course. Again, we've got a lot going on. Let's get into Helen. This hurricane is going to make landfall. We've got some interesting information from the news talking about where we're at with this storm so far. They're talking about the largest Gulf storm. I don't know if it's this year or in history. It's going to be a big storm nonetheless. And the storm surge is what they're very concerned about. So again, it's going to be careful. So batten down the hatches. Be careful, guys. If you're in the line of the storm, hopefully you've either evacuated or prepared yourself already, because it sounds like it's supposed to hit tonight. So by the time you're listening to this, it could already be well underway. But here is some of the information that they've got out thus far. Let's try to get this over here. Maybe. Let's see if that works. Hello. And now.
The fact that this storm is going to be the biggest storm we have ever seen in the Gulf of Mexico should say something. It's going to affect all of Florida, the Southeast, and parts of the Appalachians as well.
All right. Thanks so much,
Are
Janet.
they evacuating the University of Florida State's there?
Well, she just mentioned Tallahassee,
Yeah.
and we know who's there right now. The governor of the great state, Ron DeSantis. Governor, she just set it up. It's a monster storm. That's one of the reasons you've already declared a state of emergency for 61 of 67 counties. Are you telling people to get out of the way, or is it too late?
Well, I think it depends where you are. I mean, certainly if you're in North Florida and you are in an evacuation zone, and there have been evacuation orders that have been issued by the local officials there who are responsible for emergency response, you have time. The time is, though, running out. The conditions are going to continue to deteriorate throughout the morning and into the early afternoon. And then as the time, especially in North Florida, once we get probably in the afternoon, you're going to start to see some really hazardous conditions. And the storm's expected to make landfall sometime this evening around 7 o'clock. Now, just because it's making landfall in northern Florida, you are going to have impacts. As was mentioned, it's a big storm. It goes hundreds of miles wide, and it doesn't mean you're going to have hurricane winds hundreds of miles out, but certainly tropical conditions all throughout those counties in the state of Florida that are even on the East Coast, Northeast Florida, the Space Coast. You also have the issue of this storm is going to be moving up in the Gulf of Mexico. It's probably going to be 100, 150 miles off the west coast of Florida, the eye of the storm, but it is going to churn a lot of water. So you're going to see surge up and down the west coast of Florida. You will see water rising. And then the issue of the wind speed. Because if it does hit Tallahassee, they have not had a major hurricane in Tallahassee in recent memory. People that have been to Tallahassee know we've got a lot of beautiful trees here. The neighborhoods have them. But when you start having 125-mile-an-hour winds, that could cause a lot of damage, a lot of debris as well. So what we're telling residents who may be in these heavily wooded areas, have a lot of trees, know what's around your house, and just know that if it does hit in a way that is direct on Tallahassee, you are going to have trees that fall, and your house may be hurricane proof and can withstand the winds, but you got a big oak fall on the roof. That is not going to be something that you're going to want to be there for.
Yeah, I went to college there. It's beautiful. Those trees are, it's just a canopy over the streets. It's gorgeous. Texting with friends that still live in Tallahassee that I went to Florida State with, and they've decided to stay. They're going to their parents' house because their parents have a generator. But just God bless your state. Everyone out there, say a prayer for their state. Governor, I know this comes along with the territory, but you grew up there and you're an expert at this. So thanks for being on with us and educating our viewers that are down there.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've had a great outpouring of support. We've got a lot of people from out of state, linemen. We've got over 30,000 linemen ready to go get the power back on. We've got all our assets for search and rescue if that's needed. So these are things we deal with. People just need to make decisions, keep themselves safe. As soon as the storm passes, you're going to see the response very quickly.
Yeah, no one handles these tragedies better than you do. You got a record of doing it. Good luck. We're praying for you, Governor.
It is funny how, like, when you live in a place that's prone to certain natural disasters, you just tend to become an expert at them. That's why I always talk about, like, earthquakes the way I do. We've had enough of them here in California where you borderline become an expert. You're like, oh, yeah, earthquake, blah, 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 right? So God bless everybody in the way. And I know a good friend of our channel, we've talked about her many times, but Nana's Little Corner, she's got a great channel out there, but I know she's in the direct line for this hurricane. No, actually, I think it is another friend of mine. Sorry, I don't think Nana's actually there. She's way down south, so she should hopefully be okay. Whatever the case is, I know we got a lot of listeners out in Florida, and that's going to be tough. This was just pretty funny. I thought I would share it.
That's hilarious. What?
They've got a level of flooding there apparently, and someone's riding a boat with the Trump flag, which I couldn't resist. I had to play it. Clay Higgins kind of got himself in some hot water, but I thought he handled it well and did what he probably should have done. All that said, we got Clay Higgins. He now deleted this tweet, and I'm going to explain to you how that played out. But here's the tweet, and I think a lot of us may not disagree with it, but the language was kind of harsh, and I think this is why Clay Higgins changed his mind, and we know that he went back and he prayed about it and decided to take down the tweet. But he goes, lol. These Haitians are wild, eating pets, voodoo, nastiest country in the Western Hemisphere, cults, slapstick gangsters. But damned if they don't feel all sophisticated now, filing charges against our president and VP. All these thugs better get their mind right and their ass out of our country before January 20th. Well, as you can imagine, that pissed off the deep state or the lefties. So, Speaker Johnson was asked about it, and he had, I think, a pretty good response, all in all.
The next
any comment on the tweet that Clay Higgins put out today about Haitians?
I heard about that on the floor just now as well. Clay Higgins is a dear friend of mine and a colleague from Louisiana, and a very frank and outspoken person. He's also a very principled man, and I think he tweeted. I didn't even see it, but he tweeted something today about Haitians, and he was approached
by January 20th.
Okay. Well, look, he was approached on the floor by colleagues who said that was offensive. He went to the back. I just talked to him about it. He said he went to the back and he prayed about it and he regretted it and he pulled the post down. That's what you want a gentleman to do. I'm sure he probably regrets some of the language he used, but we move forward. We believe in redemption around here.
Yeah, we do believe in redemption. Even for you guys on the left, by the way, assuming you don't stay in your same ideologies. Yeah, if you do, well, there's no point in redemption at that point because you've not redeemed yourself. You've not figured out you're wrong. And if you never figure out you're wrong and can't change your ways, then there's no such thing as redemption. Arm yourself. Prosecuted former FBI specialist urges Americans to stock up on food and prepare for hardship. Marcus Allen, a former FBI specialist who was prosecuted for questioning January 6, said during a hearing with lawmakers on Capitol Hill that Americans should stock up on food and prepare for hardship. Department of Justice Inspector General Michael Horowitz, who testified alongside Allen, is investigating the FBI's security clearance and adjudication process, including the targeting of political conservatives who were seen as loyal to Trump or resistant to COVID-19 vaccine mandates. There are no words strong enough to describe the impact the FBI's lies about me have had on me and my family, said Allen during an emotional statement. The stress has taken a toll on our health, and our children have suffered, traumatized by the thought of our door getting kicked in or dad not coming home. Allen added even more ominously, "This is a warning to all American people, I say. I personally have no confidence the FBI will rein in its own conduct. However, it was Allen's final comments that raised many eyebrows. The former FBI staffer urged Americans to use their right to vote, despite any doubts that they may have about election integrity. My other recommendations are in the natural order, Allen continued. Arm yourself and know how to defend yourself. Make 3 to 4 friends in your neighborhood and promise to come to each other's mutual aid in times of hardship. And during the Great Depression, people stocked up their pantry. So I think that's a good practice, especially in our economic times. And make sure you have 3 to 4 months of food, he added. Allen also urged Americans to pray and read the Bible regularly. By the way, I finally just finished 2 Kings. Something very funny. Probably going to get the name. Was it Jebediah or Judas? I don't know. I forget who it was. It was like I was going to bring the Bible and read it, but it was really funny. Is they finally raided Jerusalem, and they were going to kill the king, and it was Jordan, the king of Jordan, I think it was coming in. Anyway, again, I just read it, but obviously didn't stick as well. But what's funny is it was the 9th year, the 10th month, and the 10th day when he invaded Jerusalem. And what I found to be interesting about that is 9, 10, 10 is the same thing as 9, 1, 1, because zeros are just placeholders and they're not actually there. Same thing as 9, 11. I found that to be very interesting. Obviously, that is a significant number. Nonetheless, read your Bible. It's a good idea for sure. Folks, another good idea is to get out of their system. Their system, I don't know how much longer it's actually going to make it. Based off the level of corruption and the stuff that's coming down when you've got Diddy and you've got what's going on in New York and you've got what's going on in Congress in general. We've got so much, what we've got going on with Ukraine. We've got so many bad things going on in the world right now that literally any one of those things could cause a stock market crash. Any one of them. Any one of them. Taiwan, close to going to war, it seems. We'll talk about that. And plus all the other crazy stuff that's going on. Folks, I don't recommend staying in their system. If you've got a 401k or an IRA and you're still in it, and I don't care if it's $2,000 up to $1 million or more, get out of their system. One thing you can do is you can get into a precious metals IRA, which actually is performing extraordinarily good. Precious metal prices are up a lot, and they're expected to go higher, especially with the Fed lowering the interest rate, which is only going to cause inflation to go up more. And possibly they'll lower it one more time just to make sure they kill the economy before Trump goes into office. They know Trump's going to win. They don't want to ever admit it, but they're doing things to sabotage everything for him, or against him, I should say. Get out of their system, folks. Don't trust them. At least give my friends a chance to talk to you, get the information, find out about it. And by the way, Goldco is the best at what they do. They've got all sorts of people that have talked about it. They're incredible at what they do. Their customer service, their ability to help, all the stuff that they've got to offer. They've got different plans, different things that you can do, and there's different ways you can protect your wealth with their help. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Get out of their system. Get into a precious metals IRA. Watch your wealth continue to grow while everybody else is losing theirs. That's the key right now. You've got a chance to protect yours. Do the smart thing. Get out of their system before they take the system out of you, because they don't want you to have wealth. They don't want you to have wealth. They want you dependent on them. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Get out of their system before they get out of you. And they truly want to, unquestionably. All right, New York. We got some video and we got some major stuff going on. Now, just to start with some of the crazy, and I guess this isn't as big as I was hoping it would be. Here's a wonderful picture. You guys remember, this one's kind of floated around a few times, but Diddy obviously got the key to the city in New York. Now, I think Adams wanted to take it away after Diddy got busted or whatever. I don't remember. I feel like there was some drama around that. But what's very interesting is the fact that Adams gave Diddy a key. Diddy is known throughout the industry of being the way he was. His parties were just known, and nobody talked about them publicly, but everybody knew about them. So interesting that that happened. We'll see if that ever matters, right? Also, come to find out, Eric Adams is definitely indicted. Yep. And then had 50 Cent put out, "Oh shit, what the F did you do, Eric? I never saw active mayor of New York get indicted." I wonder if there is any ties into any of the Diddy stuff. Now, we know it's around Turkey, and we're gonna actually get a very good rundown right here. I'm going to play this at 1.2 speed, so it's not quite as long. But this is all the alleged stuff that happens. This is the investigator, the lead investigator that is pushing this. Best I've heard, and I haven't seen it written other than someone posting it on Telegram. I think it was Jordan Sather was saying, and I don't know where he got the information, but that Eric Adams has apparently said that he will turn himself in next week. We'll see how that plays out. Needless to say, here are the indictments. Here is what he's being accused of, and it's pretty serious. It's very serious, in fact.
As the indictment alleges, Mayor Adams engaged in a long-running conspiracy in which he solicited and knowingly accepted illegal campaign contributions from foreign donors and corporations. As we allege, Mayor Adams took these contributions even though he knew they were illegal, and even though he knew these contributions were attempts by a Turkish government official and Turkish businessmen to buy influence with him. We also allege that the mayor sought and accepted well over $100,000 in luxury travel benefits from some of the same foreign actors who arranged many of the illegal campaign contributions. These benefits included free international business class flights and opulent hotel rooms in foreign cities. The mayor had a duty to disclose these gifts on his annual public disclosure forms so that the public could see who was giving him what. But as we allege, year after year after year, he kept the public in the dark. He told the public he received no gifts, even though he was secretly being showered with them. We allege that Adams accepted these benefits knowing that they were given to him because of his position. And in exchange for some of those improper benefits, he intervened in the New York City Fire Department's inspection process for a building owned and operated by the Turkish government, allowing it to open even though it had not passed the fire inspection. The corruption alleged in the indictment is, as I said, long-running. As we allege in the indictment, Adams' solicitation of illegal campaign contributions began in 2018. After he started raising funds for his 2021 mayoral campaign, he agreed to take contributions offered by multiple Turkish businessmen, several of whom he met in Turkey. Adams knew that these wealthy individuals could not legally donate in a U.S. election. Federal law clearly prohibits foreign donations. That's how we protect our elections from foreign influence. Yet Adams directed his staff to pursue this illegal money to support his campaign for mayor. And as we allege, Adams continued to pursue foreign money in secret well into 2021. And it didn't stop with his first campaign for mayor. As we allege, in 2023, the mayor rekindled these corrupt relationships, seeking more illegal campaign contributions from some of the same foreign sources to support his re-election campaign. Adams also took contributions that broke other laws. As we allege, he sought contributions from businessmen far in excess of what the law allowed. He also allegedly sought contributions from corporations, which are not allowed to contribute at all in New York City elections. Many of those illegal corporate contributions were organized by the same people who organized the illegal foreign contributions. And Adams allegedly disguised them all in the same way by accepting the money through so-called straw donors. A straw donor contributes someone else's money, hiding the money's illegal source, such as a foreign businessman, a corporation, or a wealthy New Yorker who has already contributed the maximum amount allowed. And as we allege, Adams circumvented all of these laws, taking contributions from exactly the sources the law prohibits, all to benefit his mayoral campaigns. Now, Adams also personally benefited from the illegal conduct alleged in the indictment. Adams solicited and accepted over $100,000 in luxury travel benefits for years from wealthy Turkish business people and at least one Turkish government official seeking to gain influence over him. Adams started accepting undisclosed luxury travel benefits at least as early as 2016. He took these benefits nearly every year through 2021. Here are some of the benefits that we uncovered during our investigation. In 2016, Adams flew to India through Turkey and received 2 free round-trip upgrades for business class seats. That's the highest class on Turkey's national airline. Those upgrades were worth more than $12,000, and none of it was publicly disclosed. In 2017, Adams accepted free business class tickets for himself and his travel companions to France, Turkey, and China. And he was put up in the Bentley Suite in the St. Regis Hotel in Istanbul. All of that was worth more than $41,000, and none of it was publicly disclosed. Also in 2017, he flew to China, again, through Turkey, and accepted 2 free business class tickets for himself and a companion. Those were worth more than $16,000, and none of it was publicly disclosed. In 2018, he flew to Hungary through Turkey and accepted free upgrades for business class seats. Those were worth more than $12,000, and none of it was publicly disclosed. In 2019, he flew to Turkey and accepted a free upgrade to business class for his companion and a free stay in a lavish suite at the St. Regis Hotel in Istanbul. That was worth more than $9,000. And again, none of it was publicly disclosed. In 2021, Adams solicited business class tickets to Istanbul, stays at luxury hotels and resorts, yacht tours, and meals. As we allege, he asked to pay a nominal fee for all of this in order to disguise what we allege were in fact bribes. He canceled that trip at the very last minute, but the benefits that he solicited were worth more than $21,000. And later in 2021, Adams flew to Ghana, again through Turkey, and accepted free business class ticket upgrades and other gifts while he was on a layover in Istanbul. Those benefits were worth more than $12,000. And just like all the other benefits I've just run through, none of it was publicly disclosed. Now, I want to be clear. These upgrades and freebies were not part of some frequent flyer or loyalty program available to the general public. As we allege, this was a multi-year scheme to buy favor with a single New York City politician on the rise, Eric Adams. Now, this is a chart with all of the undisclosed travel benefits that we uncovered during the investigation. We just list it all out here. You see the year, 2016, 2017, 2017, 2018, 2019, and 2 in 2021. The destination, India all the way to Ghana. The benefits, the free upgrades or free tickets altogether, the hotel stays, and the value. And if you just sum up all the dollar amounts here, you get to more than $100,000. And of course, as I said before, every single trip that we list here was undisclosed. As we allege in the indictment, in addition to not disclosing these benefits, Adams sometimes created fake paper trails to try to cover up the travel benefits he solicited and received. Let me give you one example. Adams wrote emails to his staff suggesting he paid for his 2017 business class flights on the Turkish airline when, as we allege, he did not. Those flights were worth a lot of money. Just one ticket alone cost more than $10,000. But months after taking the flights, Adams wrote an email to a staff member and told the staff member that he had left cash in her desk drawer and that she should send the money to the Turkish airline to pay for a trip he had already taken. As the indictment makes clear, that's just a clumsy cover-up. Now, just because Adams received benefits for free, that doesn't mean that there weren't strings attached. As we allege, a particular Turkish government official behind many of the benefits Adams sought and accepted gave Adams all these things to gain influence over him. We allege that Adams knew that and took the benefits anyway. We allege that when the Turkish government official needed him, Adams also took corrupt official action in exchange for some of the luxury travel benefits. In 2021, the Turkish government official was trying to open a brand new high-rise building in Manhattan that would house Turkey's consulate. There was significant time pressure because the Turkish official desperately needed the building to be open in time for a visit from Turkey's president. This building was important to the Turkish official, and it was important to Turkey. But the FDNY's fire safety professionals wouldn't let the building open because the building hadn't passed an inspection. And not just that. Some of the people at the FDNY thought the building had so many issues and defects that the building was not safe to occupy. So the Turkish official sent word to Adams that it was, quote, his turn, unquote, to support Turkey. And as we allege, Adams delivered and pressured the fire department to let the building open. The FDNY professionals were convinced that they would lose their jobs if they didn't back down. And so they did. They got out of the way and let the building open. The Turkish official got what he wanted, and as we explained in the indictment, just 4 days after Adams held up his end of the bargain, he went right back to soliciting more travel benefits from the Turkish airline. Now, I want to make 3 things crystal clear. First, the conduct alleged in the indictment, the foreign money, the corporate money, the bribery, the years of concealment, is a grave breach of the public's trust. Public office is a privilege. We allege that Mayor Adams abused that privilege and broke the law. Laws that are designed to ensure that officials like him serve the people, not the highest bidder, not a foreign bidder, and certainly not a foreign power. These are bright red lines, and we allege that the mayor crossed them again and again for years. That is the only reason we are here today. Second, this investigation continues. We continue to dig, and we will hold more people accountable. And I encourage anyone with information to come forward and to do so before it is too late. And third, the Southern District of New York remains committed to rooting out corruption without fear or favor and without regard to partisan politics. We are not focused on the right or the left. We are focused only on right and wrong. That is our duty, and we will fulfill it.
Again, pretty strong stuff is going on. Wow, they actually... Oh, there we go. I hope. Yeah, sorry. I lost my headphone there. We got pretty strong statements coming from that, and not looking good for Eric Adams. But again, innocent until proven guilty. But let's demonstrate here that the people of New York City are not happy. And again, when you think New York's largely blue, right? Well, even the blue people seem to be pretty pissed off. And so they brought in some of the oldest people they possibly could so they could try to garner respect. But it didn't work.
We are not here today to criticize the federal government, well, you might be, but shush. That's all you do. That's all you brought here to criticize. Yeah. We are going to be here. Yeah, we're going to be here.
Hey, brother, this is a 92-year-old elder. Show us some respect. A 92-year-old elder.
She stands next to you. She stands next to Cuomo. As the NAACP, as the 501c3, you should not be standing for political candidates. Stop that. You're always in favor. You're always in favor of the top until they come after you. You belong in jail with no bail and solitary confinement. Next is John P.
We're calling on all New Yorkers.
Well, you get the point. We need to play the whole friggin' minute of it. But again, yeah, New Yorkers are not happy about this. Adams' top campaign fundraiser, Breonna Suggs, close aide Winnie Greco, expected to be named in bombshell indictment as well. So 2 more of Eric Adams' inner circle are expected to be named. So again, not good for the man. He is going down, and everybody around him has been going down. There's a whole lot of corruption, apparently, that's been happening there. Seems like once Rudy Giuliani stopped being mayor, all the corruption snuck back in almost, huh? Federal agents early Thursday swept in search of the official residence of Mayor Eric Adams. Stunning move that capped a lengthy corruption investigation into whether the mayor conspired with the Turkish government to funnel illegal foreign money into his campaign coffers. The search at Gracie Mansion on the Upper East Side began at 6 a.m., just hours before the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York and officials from FBI and the city's Department of Investigations were expected to announce federal charges against Mr. Adams. Once again, Southern District of New York, SDNY. Never good, but who knows? Maybe one of these days they'll break open that treasure trove of all sorts of goodies there, because there's all sorts of crazy stuff that is locked up in SDNY. We'll see if we ever find out what it is. More than an hour after they swept into Gracie's mansion in a pre-dawn raid, federal agents were still inside. While searching the mayor's official residence is an extremely aggressive step, not nearly as aggressive as, say, raiding Mar-a-Lago. Executing early morning search warrants in federal cases is routine. Search warrant applications are filed by federal prosecutors and must be reviewed and signed by a federal magistrate or district court judge. Prosecutors must explain why there is probable cause to believe that evidence of a particular crime will be found in the search. Prosecutors often use the warrants to seek any electronic devices that have not already been seized in the investigation. Ocasio-Cortez says Adams should resign for the good of the city. Mayor Adams has released a statement responding to the federal charges. I guess we'll go ahead and play this.
The mayor has now released a statement responding to this news, saying, "I always knew that if I stood my ground for New Yorkers, that I would be a target, and a target I became. If I am charged, I am innocent, and I will fight this with every ounce of my strength and spirit." The mayor.
Well, we'll see if that's enough to win the day. How ironic it seems. Mayor Adams recently said Rikers Island would be ready for President Trump. You guys remember that? What's funny is it may turn out that it might be ready for him. Wouldn't that be a strange turn of events? I'm sure a lot of us would probably find that to be quite ironic, like rain on a wedding day maybe, or a free ride when you've already paid. Congress passes a bill to avert a shutdown before the election, sending it to Biden. So they dropped the SAFE Act. There's just no way they were going to get that through, period. What I do think is good about this, and I know everybody's poo-pooing this, I know everybody is saying this is horrible, I know everybody is saying we failed, I know everybody's saying it screwed them, they should have shut the government down. We would have gotten blamed, it would have hurt us in the election. Unquestionable. So this, I think, was a brilliant move by Johnson. What he did is he kicked the can down the road a little bit further. Again, I'm not saying I agree with the idea of continuing to kick the can, but I get the game. I get the point of what we're doing. So by kicking the can down the road just a little bit, it gets us past the election, but it does not get us all the way to when Trump is in office, which is also awesome. So I think they've got until the 20th, December 20th, is when we hit the wall again. This will be, I think, where the government shutdown can happen. This is something to consider, especially drslikescold.com. This is something to consider in that bigger picture. Government shutting down would be bad for business for the deep state. I think it might be good for the country. Ultimately, it can't be blamed for the election. Election's already happened. So December 20th is a very interesting place to have this happen. We'll see how it all plays out, but I actually think this was a good move. We'll see. We'll see if I'm right or wrong on this one. Tuesday, a panel of 3 U.S. Court of Appeals judges, all appointed by President Trump, heard arguments in a case challenging Mississippi's law that allows the counting of mail-in absentee ballots received within 5 days of Election Day. The outcome of this case could have broad implications for other states that accept late-arriving ballots, particularly battleground states. We'll see what they decide. They're saying they're postmarked by the day of, but they're leaving it open for so many days, which I get kind of why. Like, I get the argument a little bit, but then at the same time, it's kind of like one of those things where if you're going to mail in your ballot, you better get it done earlier. And if there's any chance that the post office is screwing around or screwing up, that's not necessarily a reason to keep something open. That's just a failure on the post office's side. And frankly, that needs to be addressed from that side. You don't change election laws because the post office sucks. We also know the post office is overwhelmingly blue. So again, this benefits the deep state. And it's not an acceptable reason to extend the date. We'll see what happens. Obviously, the judges would be hopefully more friendly to the Constitution of Mississippi specifically. We'll see how that plays out. Lots of lies coming from the left these days. Starting right here is an interesting election interference situation. And we've already got Google's search results being considered for a monopoly, and I think rightly so. But Google's search favors Kamala Harris over Trump, puts articles with leftist bias atop GOP nominee site. There's a study that was done. Google's placed search results for Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris campaign website in a more prominent location than the official site for Republican rival Donald Trump, and buried the results for GOP candidate under content with leftist bias, according to a new study. Media Research Center, a conservative watchdog, found the disparity after analyzing search results of 2 separate queries: Donald Trump presidential race 2024 and Kamala Harris presidential race 2024. The search by MRC Free Speech America researchers for Harris campaign conducted September 6th yielded a result that was third below articles about the vice president suggested largely from left-leaning outlets like New York Times, Washington Post, and all that stuff. Obviously not favoring Trump in those searches. We'll see where that gets us. Another lawsuit, of course. Here's a brilliant young man that has figured out politics at a pretty early age. Check this out.
What's the first word that pops into your head when you hear the name Kamala Harris?
Liar.
That's about right, I'd say. You guys agree, disagree? Rep. Andy Biggs, Americans are sick and tired of the left's distorted facts to fit their narrative. Pretty strong statement. Just referring to, I think, some sort of lie that was told by one of his counterparts or whatever they always refer to their constituents, their friends, whatever. Constituents, I think, are the people back in the state, but the people he's working with, fellow Congress members, I don't know, I forget the stupid names they give to each other. They crawl up each other's asses all the time. Whatever the case is, here's Andy Biggs talking about them.
How about the bipartisan deal, the so-called bipartisan piece of crap deal out of the Senate? Mr. Clem, I read your statement, and what did you say? You said something like this. You said, it failed to address the border security requirements still needed by the U.S. Border Patrol. If enacted, it would codify a mandatory nationwide catch and release scheme for all populations anytime there is limited consequences of detention or removal, even returning to Mexico, incentivizes more people to make the dangerous journey. That dangerous journey, that's what's inhumane, is it not?
That's correct. The journey is dangerous.
And so the bill that you referred to as a better bill was H.R. 2, which has been languishing over in the Senate for over a year now. That was a bipartisan bill. That was a bill that would have made significant changes along the border. Quit lying.
Wow. Yeah, that'd be nice if they would, huh? Sure would. I don't know if it's possible. It's like telling a fish to stop swimming, but we'll see. Nathan Wade apparently is missing in action right now.
Lover boy Nathan Wade is missing. The House Judiciary Committee, which is investigating Georgia DA Fani Willis, needs Wade to testify at a hearing tomorrow on their love affair. But no one can find the guy. They're trying to serve him, but he's flown the coop, and now the U.S. Marshals are in a manhunt to track him down. Have they checked the condo?
Yeah, the condo, I think he was saying. Is poor cut, unfortunately. But yeah, funny place to chop it. But all said, yeah, when they find this dude, I mean, that's pretty messed up. Once again, just demonstrates the bigger picture. Rep. Matt Gaetz put this out, and I think this is pretty awesome. And I think Matt Gaetz is stirring the pot in such a brilliant fashion right now. Good job, Matt. Today, I accepted at Rep. Bera's invitation to brief him and at House Intel on where and how I learned about the 5 assassination teams in the U.S. targeting President Trump. Immediately after I broke the news that 5 hit teams, including Iranians, were targeting Trump, the Biden-Harris admin was forced to brief the Trump campaign about one of those threats. So it's real. Nevertheless, Democrat lies persist, and Rep. Bera, who sits on the Intel Committee, called my stating the facts dangerous. I think it's more dangerous that House Intel members don't know or don't care what intel is out there about assassins targeting Trump. So good job, Gates. Good job for stepping up and standing up for us, Americans, and Trump, for that matter. We've got intentional sabotage of submarine shipbuilding that's being withheld during a congressional hearing to request more funds for the budget gap. Navy Secretary Carlos Del Toro met with Congress in a closed hearing last Thursday to ask for more money to close a $2 billion budget gap needed to fund the building of 2 new submarines. According to Stars and Stripes, Del Toro was met with accusations of withholding information during the hearing. Rep. Ken Calvert from California, chairman of the House Appropriations Committee Defense Subpanel, accused the Navy of keeping lawmakers in the dark about the submarine funding shortfalls for months and offering inconsistent information about scheduling delays. I wonder what Rep. Calvert would think if he knew Del Toro was asking for more money while hiding sabotage at the shipbuilding facility. On Tuesday, September 24th, the Assistant Secretary of the Navy for Research, Development, and Acquisitions, Nicholas Guertin, he sent an email to SecNav Del Toro and CC'd Admiral Franchetti with the subject line, Initial Report, Welding Quality Issues at H2 Newport News. Within the email, which I personally reviewed, Guertin states, BLUF, bluff, I'm not sure what that stands for. Have been made aware of a welding issue at H2 Newport building that appears to affect in-service and new construction of Virginia, Columbia, and CVN hulls. He goes on to state, welders at NNS not following proper in-process techniques, and states that while some issues appear to be unintentional, in some cases, it's due to intentional actions. Priority is being given to potential impacts to operations ships and those with near-term certification trial events. Guertin states that impacts to in-service ships have been assessed as having joints that were not on critical structures, and goes on to give a timeline of completion with a set of repair plans to be in place shortly thereafter. Guertin informs Del Toro the Navy will be heavily engaged in the investigation, and given the potential legal implications of intentional misconduct, NNS has notified the Department of Justice. It's imperative the DoD and Navy are held accountable for possible intentional omissions to Congress when asking for more taxpayer funds, especially if sabotage is suspected. Seems like this could be grounds for impeachment given recent precedent. They're never going to impeach these guys, but whatever. Geiger Capital put this out as the Biden-Harris administration comes to an end. Reminder that they drained the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, risking national security for short-term political gain, and will now leave office without ever refilling it. It's the lowest level that it's been in 40 years. 40 years. They've put us at more risk, like they do with the weapons we keep giving to Ukraine as well. We literally, there's a lot of people out there that are well-versed in this stuff. If we got in a war with Russia, we would literally be out of missiles within the first week. Literally. We would be out of missiles within a week. 1 week, we'd be done. Done. We'd have no more missiles. Other countries are manufacturing them as quickly as they possibly can. They would do far better than we would. Right now, we are not capable of sustaining a war. Right now, we're not capable of sustaining the 2 wars at least, a third one coming. We're not capable. And yet here we are, burning off everything we can build it. As fast as we can build it, we give it away. As fast as we can build it. A conservative think tank and its public policy oversight arm filed a Freedom of Information Act suit against the Biden administration seeking any records related to advice the Justice Department Office of Legal Counsel may have offered in regard to the 25th Amendment. Heritage Foundation Oversight Project attorney Kyle Brosnan, he characterized the OLC as the equivalent of a White House law firm that provides legal advice to the executive branch and its officers, adding the timeline for any responsive documents is June 1st to the present day. Under Section 4 of the 25th Amendment, a majority of the principal officers of the cabinet would transmit to the Senate President pro temp, currently Senator Patty Murray, a Democrat from Washington, a declaration that the sitting president can no longer perform his duties. The vice president would then be named acting president. The amendment was ratified following the Kennedy assassination. Kamala's interview with her buddy on MSNBC went about as well as you would expect. I was wishing we would have gotten some sound bites of this. It would have been awesome. But 2 Daily Mail headlines. Kamala Harris is stumped by a question about crucial part of her economic policy during MSNBC interview. Figures. And Kamala Harris responds to Trump's claim she never worked at McDonald's by reciting part of the Big Mac jingle. To all beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun. I've never worked there in my life, and I honestly haven't eaten at a McDonald's in over 5 years. I have no idea when the last time I ate at McDonald's. I love their breakfast. That sausage McMuffin, damn good, but still not healthy. Yeah, she responded the jingle, and that somehow proves she worked there. No, it doesn't. You're an idiot, Kamala. And you're not an idiot. You're actually intelligent, but you're an idiot. You're an idiot. You're like an idiot savant, I guess. I don't know what's going on with you. All right, government source confirms FBI dirty tricks with the key January 6 pipe bomb footage as a cover-up unravels. Just to do the skinny of this whole article, it's a good article, actually. So the FBI, the pipe bomb image that we've all seen, right? This photograph that's right here. I think we got some other ones down here. We got some of this video footage. This is where the pipe bomb was left, right? There's the pipe bomb in the bushes. This is a different camera angle. Here's another camera angle. It'll make sense in a second. Here's the dude walking up. Really crappy video quality, which is kind of the point of this entire article. You see, what's funny is the FBI never actually, the video was taken by the DNC cameras. The DNC cameras are what caught the footage. That's why we have those 2 different angles. Now, the FBI apparently got a hold of one of those, and then they released the images. Well, this is the images they released. Now, what's funny is the quality is abysmal. It's abysmal. Now, this is one of the key pieces that really demonstrates, it seems, that the FBI effed with this video. In a subsequent bombshell piece, we made a very strong case that the frame rate of the DNC footage made public by the FBI was tampered with in order to make it more difficult for the public to identify the bomber. Indeed, the frame rate on the DNC footage was less than 2 frames per second, when the cheapest commercially available security cameras, like those used at gas stations, they have 8 frames per second. 4 times more frames per second. Much clearer. Are we really to believe that the DNC security cameras had a frame rate that is worse than an absolute worst commercially available security cameras? Again, we strongly encourage readers to watch the following entertaining short video that we put together to summarize our argument that the frame rate and quality of the DNC surveillance footage were, in fact, degraded. This right here is security footage from a gas station. See how clear it is? This is 8 frames per second. See how not clear this is? That's 2 frames per second. Yes, it got messed with. And then on top of that, the FBI deleted their copy, supposedly, because the individual that went to view this themselves had to go to the DNC to actually view it. Fortunately, they hadn't deleted it yet, because the pipe bomb was dropped off on the 5th. But DNC has deleted everything from the 6th. Again, why is that? Why didn't they delete the 5th? Very interesting, but there is definite shenanigans at work here, unquestionably. Again, very good article. Did my best to summarize it for you. DOJ refuses to say how many feds were at the January 6th until after the election. So they're going to tell us how many feds were there, but they don't want it to affect the election. Anyone surprised that the DOJ is once again affecting the election by not giving the American people pertinent information? You know, like they did with the laptop from Hunter Biden? Except that time they actually just straight up lied to us. Now, they're just not going to tell us until after. Right? Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? We still don't know how many feds were there. Now, most of us have a pretty strong suspicion that there was many feds, but none of us could even speculate as to how many. It was probably worse than we think. And I'd be very curious how many of the people, like the dude rolling up the fence, the guy at the top with the thing, you know, that was organizing everybody. There's a number of very interesting people, Epps for that matter. So many things that don't add up. And I'd be very curious to see if any of those guys were feds, when they probably are. Now, were they DOJ? Were they FBI? Nah, I don't know. But do they work for the government? Probably. Maybe CIA. Who knows? I'm okay with any number of options, but yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be FBI. Just keep that in mind, folks, because that's one thing that a lot they want to catch us on that one. Well, they're not FBI agents. We told you they weren't FBI agents. Yeah, but is there anybody from the Department of Homeland Security? Anybody under the Mayorkas umbrella that was there that day? Well, granted, he wasn't in charge at the time, but yeah, that's a big question. One that many people want to ask. Again, I found out this classic sale it's not because these pillows are going away at all. They're doing this incredible, by the way, the original MyPillow is the greatest pillow ever. Love their towels, love their sheets, love all their stuff. And they've got a lot of great deals going on. Free shipping over $75. Keep all that in mind. But the classic MyPillow is the best pillow, hands down, unquestionably, the best pillow I've ever used in my life. Highly recommend it. They're giving away $14.88. You can buy up to 10 at a time. Here's the beautiful thing, and here's why. Mike Lindell did a cool little commercial for my audience. Check it out.
A large retail store just canceled a huge order, leaving us with a ton of extra MyPillows. But you know what? That's their loss. I'm going to make it your gain. For the first time ever, you get standard classic MyPillows for wholesale prices, only $14.88. I can't believe I'm even saying that. Only $14.88. But it gets even better. For a limited time, I'm going to offer my entire classic collection at wholesale prices. Upgrade to a queen-size MyPillow for just $18.88. King size only $1 more. Get my body pillows for $29.88 and multi-use MyPillows for only $9.88. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on the screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of wholesale pricing for the first time ever on TV, including my standard size MyPillow, only $14.88. They've never been offered this low before. We have limited quantities at this price, so limit's going to be 10, and once they're gone, they're gone.
Yeah, it's an incredible deal. Use coupon code OTF, of course, and it is mypillow.com/OTF. Mypillow.com/OTF. Get the best night of sleep you have ever had. All right, we got some Trump stuff coming. Let's get into it. Rock and roll, baby. Trump's war room. First Lady Melania Trump. It's a little shocked that they keep going after her husband. She did a really long interview. I saw it's like 3 parts. It seems like it's about 45 minutes to an hour. I haven't watched it all yet. But needless to say, here's Melania, greatest First Lady ever.
It's interesting how quiet and everything became, all of the mainstream media. There were a few days reporting about July 13 event, and everything then became quiet. So I had a lot of questions. What's going on? This is not normal. And is it really shocking that all this egregious violence goes against my husband? Especially that we hear the leaders from the opposition party and mainstream media branding him as a threat to democracy, calling him vile names. They only fueling a toxic atmosphere and giving power all of these people that they want to do harm to him. This needs to stop. This needs to stop. The country needs to unite. And I encourage everybody to read my letter that I wrote on July 14 again, because that cannot continue.
Another example of this too, and it really bugged me because they had like a regular news on. I was down at the car dealership this morning getting something done, nothing major, of course, just standard service, and they were labeling. They kept putting on the screen MAGA extremists. They kept referring to MAGA extremists, putting those two words together because, of course, if you're MAGA, you're obviously an extremist, right? Because you want to make America great again, which is obviously an extreme thing. And again, who are the ones that continue to try to harm and kill and deface and steal and rob? Well, certainly not people on the right, as a general rule. Yeah, we got a couple examples here and there, and we certainly talk about how shitty that is every time it happens. Not okay. Violence is never okay. Ever. Yet, here we are. Here's Trump talking about the shooter. Focus on the father. Now listen to Donald Trump today after all this is going on.
These foreign apps, and they must get Apple to likewise open the 6 phones from the second lunatic who's a lunatic and open them immediately because we have a lot at stake, whether it's me or any other former president. They break into apps all the time. They had no problem breaking into the apps of the J6 hostages. They broke into those apps. And they could be Iran-based. They could also be something else. But we'll never know until they're opened, and they got to get them opened. And really, why is it that the father of the shooter in the Butler instance has one of the best and most expensive lawyers in the entire state of Pennsylvania? How did he get to this expensive lawyer, big law firm, the biggest in Pittsburgh? Where did he get this big law firm from? It's sort of strange. If I were president and a former...
Yeah, he's it's just he's giving the hints without saying exactly what's up because they just lambast him for that. He's giving the hints. House Judiciary investigating DOJ for release of Ruth's manifesto are offering a $150,000 Trump bounty. Right, they're pretty pissed off about this. Jordan warns that the Ruth manifesto could inspire copycats and cause additional harm to occur. What was done by the DOJ was absolutely asinine, completely dangerous, stupid, unacceptable, should never happen. Again, they won't release the manifesto of that crazy transgender kid. Well, there are a lot of crazy transgender kids that are shooting up schools. They won't release those manifestos. Why? Because they don't want to cause copycats. Because they don't want people to see the truth. They don't want that to get out. But they released this letter that, sorry, I failed. Here's $150,000 for anybody that can complete the job. This is the deep state, without a doubt. Probably Soros's handwriting, for crying out loud. Who knows? Ridiculous. Far-left blogger Ken Klippenstein has released an internal vetting dossier on the 2024 Republican vice presidential nominee, Senator J.D. Vance. Klippenstein, formerly associated with The Intercept and the Young Turks, published the documents believed to have been hacked by the Islamic Republic of Iran on his Substack on Thursday. The document reveals private details about Vance, including his social security number, personal phone number, addresses, and email information. Klippenstein did not redact any of this data, raising concerns about the potential threat to Vance and his family. Does it seem like the left wants these guys to die? Because we're extremists, right? Because we're crazy and we're trying to destroy everything like democracy, even though we're a constitutional republic. And yes, we are going to destroy your version of democracy, which is mob rules. That's what it is. That's democracy. Mob rules. Get the popular vote, and we should be able to take over the country, is what democracy is. But that's not how it works. We're a constitutional republic, and thank God we are. Or, I guess in the case of the Democrats, thank Baal that we are. I don't know. I'm not sure who you guys pray to, but thank God they're helping us too, because this truth is coming out, whatever the case is. Now, of course, there's only one God, so I don't believe that at all, but whatever. They do. That's the problem. Qatar becomes the first Arab state to join the U.S. visa waiver program despite warm Hamas ties. Yeah, Qatar is, I don't know, there's big questions. We'll find out what's going on there. But the U.S. has said it will waive visa requirements for citizens of Qatar, making the gas-rich Gulf state the first Arab country and only second Muslim-majority country to join a network of states with expedited travel to the United States. Yeah. Let that stand on its own. You guys can have your own opinions on that. U.S. announces $160 million of new aid for troubled Haiti. This is kind of cool. You think about it, it's like, all right, cool. Well, this is kind of what, in my mind anyway, we should do. Rather than bringing all the Haitians here, how about we send a few bucks their way and try to help make that country better? It's a tiny-ass country. It's the poorest country in the world. You would think a little money would go a long ways. Now, first, let me qualify that a little bit. I don't trust the organizations or the administrations that we've had to actually not launder it, not steal it, not, to actually use it for the purposes that it's supposed to be used for. I don't think that's happening at all, but it should. And helping the country is a great way to keep Haitians there and help Haitians build a better country, right? And then they can eat their own pets and they can practice voodoo and do all the fun stuff that they do, right? Every 24th, they can eat cat like they like to and all that. It's fantastic stuff, right? Problem is, the United States so far has given this troubled country $1.3 billion since 2021. $1.3 billion to the poorest nation in the world, and yet we're still having immigrants flooded into this country, and yet there's nothing better still going on there. They've still got warlords that are actually running it. You telling me we can't help that? Are you shitting me? Really? That's unacceptable. Unacceptable. It's a bunch of crap, too. Israel secured an $8.7 billion aid package from the United States to support its ongoing military efforts and to maintain a qualitative military edge in the region. The Defense Ministry announced this whole statement. So the package includes $3.5 billion for essential wartime procurement, which has already been received and earmarked for critical military purchases, and $5.2 billion designated for air defense systems, including the Iron Dome anti-missile system, David Sling, and an advanced laser system. I don't know what David Sling is. I should look that up. Israel is currently fighting on two fronts against Hamas in Gaza and Hezbollah in Lebanon. So at least we've given them some money to help out. Speaker Johnson put this out. After organizing a partisan campaign event in a battleground state this week, Ukrainian Ambassador Oksana Markarova demonstrated she cannot be trusted to fairly and effectively serve as a diplomat in this country. President Zelensky must immediately remove her. And this is his letter demanding that. It says, as you have said, Ukrainians have tried to avoid being captured by Americans' domestic politics and influencing the choice of the American people ahead of the November election. Clearly, that objective was abandoned this week when Ambassador Markarova organized an event in which you toured an American manufacturing site. The facility was in a politically contested battleground state, was led by a top political surrogate for Kamala Harris, and failed to include a single Republican because, on purpose, no Republicans were invited. The tour was clearly a partisan campaign event designed to help Democrats and is clearly election interference. This short-sighted and intentionally political move has caused Republicans to lose trust in Ambassador Markarova's ability to fairly and effectively serve as a diplomat in this country. She should be removed from her post immediately. Additionally, as I have clearly stated in the past, all foreign nations should avoid opining on or interfering in American domestic policies. Support for ending Russia's war against Ukraine continues to be bipartisan, but our relationship is necessarily tested and needlessly tarnished when the candidates at the top of the Republican presidential ticket are targeted in the media by officials in your government. These incidents cannot be repeated. Thank you for your prompt attention to this matter, and I trust you will take immediate action. Good job, Mike Johnson. Zelensky, of course, warns the UN of looming nuclear disaster, as Russia suggests nuclear weapons could be used. They're also talking about the possibility of stopping the power from the nuclear power station. Not blowing up the power station, by the way, just disconnecting it from Ukraine. That's not actually going to use nuclear weapons. So he's making all these claims, and then in the very same breath, he's like, Western nations, you must give me the ability to strike deep into the heart of Russia with your weapons. That will cause nuclear war. So if we're worried about nuclear war from Russia, then why would we listen to your stupid fucking ass, Zelensky? Because what you're asking us to do is start World War III. You're the biggest pile of shit that's ever walked the face of the earth, Zelensky, and you don't deserve anything anymore from this country. I feel bad for the Ukrainians. I feel bad that they've got to deal with your punk ass in charge, and it's killing off generations of men in your country. And our government is guilty of pushing this and allowing Russia to go into your country. All of these things have been created by the deep state, by the left, and by this atrocious administration that we're currently dealing with. So, Zelensky, your country should do something about you, whatever that might be. It's not my choice, and I'm certainly not offering any ideas. But we should put a stop to this war. You are only causing death, and you are risking a war that will cause millions and billions to die. Sounds like a pretty bad idea, you dumbass. I'm not thinking we're going to listen to you at all. Biden announced a surge in military aid for Ukraine. Apparently worked out some sort of $8 billion deal. So they're still giving away everything. They basically are giving longer range weapons, joint standoff weapons, munitions, but we have stopped short of giving them permission to use them deep into the heart of Russia, though Ukraine is Zelensky's still desperately trying to get permission. But yeah, we gave him a bunch more, some military hardware, Patriot air defense batteries, interceptors, drones, and air-to-ground munitions, and the JSAW weapons, joint standoff. So we're, yeah, it's just stupid. It's so friggin' stupid. And this will be the that nuclear event, right? The Cuban Missile Crisis that we keep hearing that we're going to go through. That's what this is. And we're getting closer and closer and closer. And again, because of our weakened administration in this country, here we are with Taiwan. Said 29 more Chinese aircraft detected after a one-day surge. Taiwan's defense minister said Thursday 29 more Chinese fighter jets and drones were detected around the Democratic Island following a 24-hour period. China, which claims Democratic Taiwan as part of its territory. This latest ramp-up of military movement came after Japanese media reported that a Japanese warship sailed through the sensitive Taiwan Strait for the first time to assert its freedom of navigation. Well, on Thursday, Taiwan's defense minister said 43 Chinese military aircraft and 8 naval vessels were detected in a 24-hour period. Yeah. China's testing the waters, and they obviously don't like the fact that we on the West are like, dude, we can sail through that all we want. And that's I believe the waters between Taiwan and China, and we're just sailing through it. And China's like, dude, that's our area. You can't sail through there. That's our international. Those aren't international waters. Those are our waters. And we're like, no, they're international waters, man. So what we're doing is basically kind of thumbing our nose, if you will, at China, and China's not happy about it. So they're kind of flexing their muscles against Taiwan to kind of make a point to the rest of the world. And obviously our administration is stupid, so they're not going to do anything about it. FBI releases O.J. Simpson files that have been secret for decades. Oops. Interesting kind of article. 790-page documents obtained by the Black Vault, which was released for the first time, shows the lengths that the FBI went to collect evidence on the former star. A handwritten document from August 1994 shows that the Los Angeles Police Department had collected multiple cloth swatches as well as car fibers from OJ's white Ford Bronco. Supposedly the amount of blood in that car was just unreal. Like, it's amazing this dude got off because they weren't allowed to claim a lot of this. They said they planted it all. It's like, from what I understand, there was gobs of blood, way more than they could have done in a couple vials. It's just impossible. Debris from Nicole's dress, debris from a bag containing Goldman's shirt, debris from a cap and socks from OJ's residence, as well as hair samples from the victim's head, arms, and eyes were also taken in the evidence by the cops, according to another document from September 1994. After thorough examination, results indicated these hairs fragments exhibit the same microscopic characteristics as hairs found in the K7 specimen and, accordingly, could have originated from Orenthal J. Simpson, the identified source of the K7 hairs. No other hairs like specimen K7 were found on or in items submitted from the victim's crime scene and gloved recovered outside of O.J. Simpson's residence. A light brown Caucasian head hair that is microscopically dissimilar to those found in specimens K1 and K4 was found in the Q3 debris. The hair could not be associated to Ronald Goldman or Nicole Simpson, which is kind of strange as well. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of information that has been finally released. A lot going on with Diddy right now. Suge Knight, powerful name, music execs. This is the guy's in jail, and he did an interview with the Cuomo dude. Said he named a bunch of powerful music execs who allegedly use drugs and alcohol. I'm gonna go ahead and play this instead of read it all because it's pretty short, and it basically says what I would have read anyway. So check it out.
Repeat what was done to him. And like I said, if you look at Russell Simmons, you know the truth. Andre Rail, you know the truth. Pride Davis, you know the truth. Jimmy Iovine, you know the truth. So there's not certain things that all of a sudden you got this. The industry is a quick business. It's been like that for a long time.
The truth is coming out. So yeah, he calls out some very significant people. Clive Davis, Russell Simmons, and Andre Harrell. They used alcohol and drugs to compromise Combs' manhood. Essentially, they start instead, this is what the rapper was saying, back in the day they just smoked pot and that was always cool and groovy. What these other guys, these Clive Davis, Russell Simmons, Andre Harrell, allegedly, that's at least what he's alleging, started using things like alcohol, cocaine, and some other powerful drugs. And using those drugs got Combs to do things that he probably didn't want to do. And once he was compromised, well, there wasn't much else he could do. He was trapped. So then he supposedly created a similar situation. So he got Usher as a kid, which makes sense now how much trouble Usher's gotten in trouble. Got Justin Bieber as a kid. And all these people are starting to come out and talk about what's happened and what Diddy did and how this played and how they got compromised, essentially. And I'm sure Justin Bieber's been raped probably multiple times. It's funny, a lot of people want to hate the guy because, well, he's got to be bad. He's tied up in all this music industry. Well, I think we're starting to realize a lot of these people are trapped. Now, granted, they're making gobs of money, but they're trapped. And Justin Bieber, I've been watching a lot of stuff about this poor kid lately. And I'll tell you what, my opinion of him has changed hugely. Hugely. I don't necessarily like his music more, but there is some of his stuff I kind of liked to begin with. But he is a troubled, damaged young man. And I actually feel super bad for him. I've seen a bunch of interviews with, I talked about it yesterday, James Corden. I saw him on, who's the blonde-haired chick? I'm drawing a blank on her stupid-ass name. The one that had the Wilson painting, Ellen. Oh, God, what a mess. And then you got to remember her girlfriend, right? She supposedly died in that crash, but we saw her lift up out of the body bag before they put her into the ambulance where she was never seen or heard from again. She wasn't dead until she left the crime scene or the traffic scene or whatever. These are the people that were going after Bieber, and it's just disgusting. It's disgusting. So Chief Nerd posted this. Mark Agnifilo, no, former Manhattan Assistant District Attorney, gave TMZ a glimpse into how Diddy's trial might play out as part of the outlet's upcoming documentary on the case. Said, I don't know that I could keep him off the stand. I think he is very eager to tell his story. And I think he will tell every part of his story. He has his story, and he has a story that I think only he can tell in a way that he can tell it in real time. It's a human story. It's a story of love. It's a story of hurt. It's a story of heartbreak. Now, again, not sticking up for Diddy at all. I think Diddy's done a bunch of bad stuff. But Diddy's also got a bunch of evidence. And I think the big question is, can the deep state let him stay alive? Are the good guys actually protecting him, unlike they did Epstein, or if Epstein's still alive, which many suspect he is, and I think he probably is. I can't believe they actually let him die, but whatever. Here's another example of someone that might disappear or be killed, and that would be horrible, really. This is just kind of funny. A comedian making fun of this picture of Diddy on a bicycle smiling. I had to share it. I think it's funny as hell.
I'm pretty sure it was Diddy that posted a picture of himself. I don't know where he was. Maybe it was New York, maybe it was not Miami or something, but he was on a bike and he was just riding his bike, and then 50 Cent commented, you know he's smiling because there's no seat on that bike.
That's just pretty damn funny. So yeah, people are definitely giving him a hard time like they should be. I don't know if I want to play this entire song, but I want to play part of it, like a minute or two. We'll see. But this is Justin Bieber's song. It's called Purpose. And this really talks about, I think, his connection with God and Jesus and his dealing with and coming to terms with all the shit he's been through. And I guess the reason I'm spending a lot of time on Bieber is, again, I feel really bad for the dude. And two, I want to see a lot of us give the guy a chance, because I think most of us have labeled him bad because we assume, and because he's probably been put in videos where he might have done the eye thing and all that stuff. But again, we started to learn they do that because they either A, tell him to do it because they have to, trick him into doing it, or they put stuff in the background that they don't realize they're going to do when they're filming their videos. There's just so many little weird things. But here is, I think, a beautiful song being sung by a guy that's been so brutalized, and it's very sad. And I don't know, I hope you guys can appreciate and enjoy some of this. Like I said, I'm not going to play the whole thing, and I'm sure YouTube's going to hate this, but whatever. Here it is.
Feeling like I'm breathing my last breath. Feeling like I'm walking my last steps. Look at all of these tears I've wept. Look at all the promises that I've kept. I put my all into your hands. Learn the soul to keep. I let you in with all that I can. You're not hard to reach. And you bless me with the best gift that I've ever known. You give me purpose. Every day you give me purpose. In every way, thinking my journey's come to an end. Sending out a farewell to my friends. For inner peace, ask you to forgive me for my sins. Oh, would you please? I'm more than grateful for the time we've spent. My spirit's at ease. I put my all into your hands. Learn the lessons you teach. No matter when, wherever I am, you're not hard to reach. And you bless me with the best gift that I've ever known. You give me purpose. Yeah, you've given me purpose in every way. Oh, you are my everything. Oh, you are my everything. Don't do the voiceover. Do it. Play music. God is in this room right now. I want you to put your hands up. God is here right now. He's in the midst of our pain and our struggle right now. I want you to put your hands up. You are not alone. Do you hear me? You are not alone. You are not alone. You are not alone. You are not alone. Thank you, Jesus. 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 Thank you, Jesus.
Wow. Like, I wanted to cut that a couple times, as you might have noticed. I tried to drop the volume, and I'm glad I stayed. I'm glad I stayed through. I've never heard the song before. That was the first time I've ever heard the song. Made me tear up. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. So, my heart and prayers go out to all these people that have been abused, that have been damaged. You know, a lot of us I haven't necessarily been treated like that, but a lot of us are going through hard times right now. A lot of us feel like we've been left alone by those that matter to us. Kicked to the curb because we're MAGA extremists. And all we want is a better planet, a better world, a better country. That's all we want. We don't even care. We just want it better even for the people that hate us. We're doing this for you too. Even though you hate us and can't see that we're actually trying to undo the damage that we're just running towards. It's horrible. And I hope and pray for all of us. Hope and pray for all of us. All right, last little section here. Citing the volume of discovery, the international character of the evidence, and the potential witness, and the scope and time frame of the allegations in this indictment, counsels for two of the defendants, Penates and Vasquez, have asked for a 10-month delay, pushing the trial to August 25th, or 2025. They also asked for status conference on October 1st. Motion is unopposed by the DOJ. Now, many of you are going, what does this case have to do with, Dan? This is the Smartmatic corruption case. And see, there's still a case going on to show the corruption in the Philippines. And this delay until next year, August, will allow that case to complete itself. And at which time, I think they'll be able to use that evidence as proof that Smartmatic was, in fact, possibly, allegedly, doing illegal things as a company. We'll see. I'd like the truth to come out, that's for sure. This morning, Rudy Giuliani has been officially disbarred in Washington, D.C., putting an end to all that nonsense. Don't need to spend much more time on that, but sad. Very sad, in fact. And finally, what was this one? Let's see. Special Counsel Weiss is asking to have Hunter's sentencing delayed by a week. Expects to have FBI informant Smirnov on trial during the week. Sentencing was originally scheduled, so they're trying to delay it a little further. I think what's interesting, I think they've delayed it to December 3rd is when that hearing will begin, which is interesting because, again, as we push it further out and we push it to a place where Biden's not going to be able to get his son off, pardon, I should say. I always forget that word. I don't know why. But he's not going to be able to pardon his son. We'll see what happens. Again, don't want to get too far ahead of this, but it's going to be interesting. I don't know if he can pre-pardon them. If he can just pardon people that haven't been accused of anything yet and just pardon people for like any crimes that you may ever find out about, like himself, for sure. I'm sure he'll pardon himself across the board unless they sneak him out of office without his knowledge. That'd be the only way. He's not going to pardon himself, I'm sure. And it's probably his whole family. We'll see how it plays out. I don't think it's going to go well for the deep state nor the Biden family, but they are going to try everything they possibly can. Folks, the people on the left and the deep state are losing. Just keep pushing forward. Keep fighting. I'll be there with you every step of the way. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.